Life after 30 for single females, most single females, consists of these three things. And this is the scary truth that nobody wants to tell women about the reality of being over 30 and still being single. So let's crack right into tonight's coaching video, guys. All right. So, the first reality for women, single women over 30, okay? One of the first realities that she is going to be living out, fulfilling, right, is the fact that she is going to be forever riding the carousel, okay? Because most women who are still single and over 30, the reason why they are is because they rode the carousel. So she's not going to magically get off that magic carousel, that magic carpet ride when she turns 30. No, she's just going to keep riding it, especially now, because now that she's over 30 and still single, she can no longer lock down the high value guy, right? She can no longer lock down those alpha chads that she used to get back in her 20s. And because of this, she's just gonna keep sleeping with random men. And this is really going to be, unfortunately, her destiny, right? This is how she's going to live out her 30s, her 40s, and her 50s, and beyond. She's just gonna have a barrage of random men that she's gonna be sleeping with. She's gonna be meeting, you know, whether she's on a business trip or just out and about or through a dating app, through these dating apps especially, right? Just random men over the next few decades while of her existence on this planet. She is just going to be sleeping with a myriad, a barrage of different men who are going to be coming over, usually late at night, because really no guy is going to want to settle for somebody who is, no longer in their prime, no longer has SMV value. So these guys are just going to be coming along in the middle of the night, having sex with her, banging her, blasting up inside of her, inside her vajayjay or on her face or on her boobs, and then just taking off in the middle of the night. And really, she's just going to have an assortment of these guys over the next few decades just coming in and out of her life, right? These guys she might date for a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months, just come in and out of her life, bang her, bang and clang, evacuate and ejaculate. No, what's it called? Ejaculate and evacuate, get in, get out, right? Then they're done with her. And then she's on to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And the more she does this, the more damaged she becomes. And this is why I keep telling these ladies, hey, if you're still in your 20s right now, your priority should be looking for that high value guy that you can lock down and go the distance with. And I always coach girls because a lot of girls do email me who are in their 20s, right? Through my channel, and they're like, what should I do? What kind of guy should I be looking for? And I always tell them, try to find a guy who's at minimum 5 years older than you. At minimum, okay? At minimum 5 years older than you and beyond. Doesn't mean you might need to, hook up with a guy who's 30 or 40 years older than you. If you want to, but at least 5 years older than you. Don't, just because he'll have a bit more maturity than you, he'll be a bit more financially stable. Ideally, I tell these guys, just look for guys in their 30s at least, at minimum, guys in their 30s. I tell these girls, if it were me and say I was like 22 or something, I would be looking for a guy who's 35. That's me. If I was a chick, if I was a hot chick, I would not be dating 21-year-old guys. I would look for a guy, even 25-year-old guys or 30-year-old guys for that matter, because even 30 is still kind of immature for a guy. I would be looking guys who are 35 and up if I was 22. That's exactly what I tell these girls. And a lot of them have taken my advice, and a lot of them have reported back and been like, hey, I met this guy. He's like 40 actually, and he's really cool. He's got a youthful spirit. He still looks really young. He's totally financially stable. He's got this successful business, or he's got this successful career, and he treats me right. He treats me good. We get along. We have a lot of, we just click, we click. We have a lot of the same values and same beliefs in common. So those are basically the experiences that these girls have when they choose the right partner. And like I said, they usually choose older guys, thanks to me, thanks to my tutelage, right? And unfortunately for these girls who are in their 30s now, in their 40s and 50s, this is a reality of life for them. They're just going to be riding the carousel for the next few decades. They're never really going to be able to lock down that high value guy anymore, and they're just going to stay on that carousel. Okay, and really that's their own fault, because the reason why they didn't lock down that high value guy in their 20s is because they wanted to ride the carousel. They wanted to. They were being hypergamous. They wanted to sleep around. They were promiscuous. They couldn't just settle for one partner. They couldn't just put both feet in their relationships. Nope, they always had one foot in and one foot out. One foot in and one foot out the door. Always ready to bounce on their man the second that anything went wrong. Instead of trying to fix things and try to be healthy about it and work with him, nope, stonewall his ass and just stonewall and go cheat. Stonewall, ghost him, and go find the next, bigger, better deal. All right, so that's the first reality for women after 30, right? That are still single, right? And I don't want to say all women. I don't like to say all women, paint all women with the same broad brush, because there are some women out there who are just happier on their own. Completely fine, right? That's cool. That's cool. I support you. If you just want to be independent, completely on your own and do your own thing, and just you could care less, and then not bitch about it later, fine, right? That's your choice, and I respect that. But for most women out there, what they do is they ride the carousel in their 20s, then they expect the beta provider to come save them in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And that just ain't reality. And then when that beta provider, or that alpha Chad, I should say, alpha Chad doesn't come back, then they get hostile, they get bitter towards men, and then they, join feminist groups. All right. The second reality for females after the age of 30 that are still single is that her life is, besides a revolving carousel, her life is also going to just primarily revolve around a unfulfilling corporate career, right? And unfortunately, a lot of these females find out too late that feminism has sold them a lemon, has sold them on this bullshit dream that they can have it all and do it all. I could spend my 20s, working up the corporate ladder, and then in my 30s, when I'm financially stable, I'll marry that high value Chad. And now they're waking up to the fact that Chad ain't there in their 30s. He doesn't want you in your 30s. He wants you in your early 20s. Okay? That's when Chad wants you. That's when you got to work with Chad, right? You can't come along when your looks are gone, your SMV is down, your SMV is down big time, like a stock market crash or a real estate crash. You can't come along and try to expect that, Alpha Chad is still going to be there. Why? Because you no longer have that transactional value, right? There needs to be that transactional value. Okay, even in relationships, there's always a transactional value, a transactional exchange going on, and an exchange of value. Okay, an exchange of value. So a lot of these women will chase an unfulfilling corporate career in their 20s, 30s, and beyond. And the longer she stays single, the longer, she really has no choice but to stay on that career path. And regardless of the game face that these women put on their TED Talks, talking about, talking all high and mighty about, oh, I got my doctorate degree. Now I'm a doctor. Ooh, I got my law degree. I passed the bar. Now I'm a lawyer. I've got my own practice, Deep down, those chicks are hurting. Deep down, those chicks are on antidepressants, I guarantee you. I see all these chicks always on these TED Talks. I laugh my ass off how they bullshit themselves about how happy they are. And I'm so glad. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. Right? It's so sad. And at the same time, kind of ironically funny how, most of those chicks are on antidepressants. They're seeing a therapist or a psychologist. They're dealing with depression. They're feeling unfulfilled. Why? Because biologically, they're missing something. And what they're missing is that family life. What they're missing is that joy of raising children, of nurturing children, of being a mom, right? That's missing. Even my parents both worked, right? Because we were pretty middle class growing up. So both my parents worked. I would only see my parents when I come home from school. Usually I get home before them, and then they would come home after. Right, so I didn't get to really, like, my mom was not there when I came home from school. She wasn't like a housewife or anything. She worked. But my parents are, fortunately are still married to this day. Just celebrated their 50th anniversary a few years ago. So congratulations, Mom and Dad. But even my mom, I know she has some regrets about not being there, like when we were kids, when we come home from school, But obviously, we had to put food on the table. But at least my parents stayed together. But imagine a woman who just never even got married, never had kids, and all she did was chase a corporate career. That chick is going to feel pretty unfulfilled. She doesn't even have kids to call up or to look upon. That's why you see so many of these women in their 40s and 50s basically still out there at the clubs, right? The venues. It's sad, and they call them what? Cougars, cheetahs. Right? They're still going out to the venues, and they don't want to be at those venues. Because even those girls, when I see them at the venues, if they could be anywhere else, they would rather be at home with a husband and a family, ideally, kids. They don't want to be at these bars and clubs and venues that I'm at, other pickup artists, players, women who are in their early 20s making fun of them. They don't want to be there, man. Because some of these chicks could get brutal on it. These younger girls could get pretty brutal on these older women at these venues, right? They're like, what is my auntie doing here? Oh my goodness, our grandmas are here, guys. I've seen these girls just say some really, really nasty things towards older ladies who could be their mothers. So that is the second reality. If you don't settle, if you try to ride your hand out beyond your 30s and you're still single, you're going to be forever just kind of like chasing this unfulfilling corporate career and constantly trying to move up the ladder just because you have nothing else to do and you want to feel productive and you don't want to have to think about going home to your cats, going home to your one bedroom apartment in the city where nobody there is waiting for you, right? It's pretty lonely when you think about it. In some ways I feel bad for these chicks, but they dug their own grave. All right, third and final reality, probably the saddest reality for life after 30 for single females, is that they are doomed. And I really mean that. They are doomed to be on this never-ending search for the perfect man, for the one, for their forever man, as they're calling it. I just need to find my forever man. They will go on this never-ending hunt for this guy that doesn't exist anymore, right? He did it one time in your early 20s. He does not exist anymore. So these women will spend the rest of their days chasing the invisible carrot, the golden egg, trying to replace the one that got away, right? The one guy I had in my 20s. Oh, he treated me so good. He was high value and I kicked him in the balls. I flaked on him. I would ghost him. I would laugh at him. I stood him up for so many dates and he kept putting up with me. I don't know why. And now I want him and he's just gone. He's gone. No, he's not gone. He's just on to the next hottie, right? Somebody who's 10, 15, 20 years younger than you. That's where he is. He's not gone. He's still alive. He's just going for younger women. Right? That's why it's hilarious whenever these girls say, where have all the good men gone? They haven't gone anywhere. They're just going for younger women, right? You are now invisible to them. But sadly, for these chicks who are over 30 and still single, this is how they're going to live out the rest of their dating life. Is they're just going to be chasing that invisible carrot forever. The golden egg, that the one, the forever man, that they're never going to get. Okay, they're never going to be able to get that guy. And their choices in men after 30 are really just low value men. I hate to say that, right? Because mostly it's going to be low value guys that would be willing to settle for a former hottie, or a chick who's past her prime, a chick who has, really already hit the wall. It's going to be these like former geeks, former nerds, former dorks that you went to school with. Finally, guys, I finally got the hot girl. Yeah, you got the hot girl now, only now she's a grandma, right? And literally some of these chicks are grandmas. They've already had like kids that have had kids. It's like, yo, now you got her, right? You're the former geek, but yeah, now you got her like decades later, when really there's nothing left, right? There's nothing left. Right? You ever see like some of these former pro athletes or former NFL players? It's just like there's nothing left, man. They're just way past their prime now. They're already touching upon 40, which is really, getting ancient for professional sports, especially sports like football or hockey. Right? They're already in their 40s, and really teams, if they're really desperate, they'll sign them to a 1-year deal just to keep them as an emergency in case they lose their two main guys. They'll keep them there as a backup. But really, there's no juice left. There's nothing gone. There's nothing there. And unfortunately, these chicks will live out that type of dating life for the rest of their days. They'll just be forever single. And if they do happen to settle with some low value guy, because I guarantee he will be low value, right? If they settle for some low value guy, she's never ever gonna feel fulfilled. She's always gonna know, like deep down the bottom of her heart, that she's settled. She's gonna know that, right? She's gonna know. Even my ex from 2006, any guy she settles for, I don't know if she got married or what, but yeah, I have no clue. But if she did, any guy after 30, she knows she's settling, right? She knows she is settling. Any of your exes that are in their 30s now, or 40s or 50s, and they happen to find some sucker to marry them, or some sucker to move in with them, or some sucker to jump in an LTR with them, that chick, I guarantee you 110%, she feels like she's settled. Because you have no other choice at that. Once you're beyond the age of 30, your choices become few and far between. And it gets worse as you get older. Your 40s, your 50s, right? Your selection of high value men just continue to close, right? There's a reason they have that saying, beggars can't be choosers. So that is the reality for most women after the age of 30, right? Riding the carousel, unfulfilling corporate career, and the never-ending search for the one that she'll never actually find. And if that's something that you want to take on, ladies, by all means, right? But this is something nobody will tell you. This is something that nobody is telling women, period. Really, you have to hear it from a pickup artist. I have to tell you this. The mainstream is not telling you this. Your girlfriends certainly aren't telling you this, because they're out to sabotage you, much less other women out there, because they want to sabotage you too, right? Much less Hollywood or anyone else out there wants to tell you this, because it's not politically correct. But I'm telling you this because it's reality. Just look around you. Just look at your own girlfriends who've gone beyond the age of 30 and are still single. Do you really want to live that out? Right? And if you're a woman who's still in her 20s, this is why you want to take my advice. You want to be looking for that high value guy. Ideally, a guy who's 5, 10, 15 years older than you. That's what you want to find, right? Otherwise, you're going to be doomed to live out this life after the age of 30 if you're still single. And like I said, this doesn't, this isn't all women, right? There are a few outliers out there that just don't want to, they want to be single. They really mean it when they're like, hey, I don't want anybody. I'm fine on my own. I want to do my own thing. By all means, okay, by all means. But for most other women out there, they really do want that family life, and that's what they've always wanted. But they've gotten distracted by all of this feminist brainwashing to think otherwise, to think they want this instead of this, to think they want to chase a corporate career and ride the carousel, sleep with endless men just like a guy. And then that high value guy will be waiting for me in my 30s and 40s. It's just not reality, ladies. It's not reality. If you don't cash in your chips early, and believe me, the earlier the better, you gotta cash in your chips. If you don't cash in your chips early, you're gonna be doomed for that life after 30, okay? Your life is gonna consist of those three things that we talked about tonight. Riding the carousel, unfulfilling corporate career, and the never-ending search for the one. So riding the carousel, chasing the unfulfilling corporate career, and the never-ending search for the one. That's what you want to live out? Hey, by all means, it's your choice. Okay? If you don't want to live out that type of existence, which, you know, to me seems pretty rotten, right? I think it's rotten that feminism is selling so many women on that lie. If you don't want to live that out, then, you know, you need to take action. And you need to heed my advice and find that high value guy while you're still young, while you're still pretty, while you're still attractive, before you have any wrinkles on your face, before you start getting any grays, before your hair starts thinning, before you start to get that crow's feet, before you start to get a little bit of that turkey neck. You gotta lock down that high value guy. And as long as you treat that high value guy good, you're faithful to him, you got both feet in your relationship, right? You don't back talk him every time, you don't, you know, disrespect him and, you know, act like a dude in the relationship, that guy will stay with you, right? That guy will stay with you. He won't go anywhere, right? He'll stay with you. So we're gonna wrap up here, guys. As always, drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts on tonight's coaching video. Any post-wall women you've met beyond the age of 30 that are basically doing these three things we talked about tonight, living out their lives, riding the carousel, just streams of endless assortments of different types of guys, banging them and, you know, blasting up inside of them, chasing that unfulfilling corporate career, and constantly on the search for that special guy that they're never gonna find, that invisible carrot, that golden egg. Drop your comments below. I would love to hear it and share with the community. And if any ladies are gonna be reading the comments, definitely share your stories, right? Definitely share your stories. I'm gonna wrap up here. Until next time, this is M from the 33 Secrets, signing out here from my garage with the DeLorean. And don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Helps me out a ton when you subscribe, so please make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well, so it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, and platinum pill content that I'm teaching you even further, the best way to do that is by jumping into my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months to Mastery, where I am teaching guys just like you how to go out there and approach and close the youngest, hottest, and most beautiful looking women on the planet. I'm talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s, same exact type of women that myself and my students all over the world are out there cold approaching every single day. And I kid you not, every single day we're making things happen. And I want you to join us. I want you to become one of us. And right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons from me. It's just $1. It's really easy to sign up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you could get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.